Hello and welcome to our weekly video blog, and today on A Vogel Talks Menopause we are going to be talking about the importance of good gut health in the perimenopause and menopause. If you like our tips and advice, then please subscribe and remember to hit the bell icon so you can be notified of all our new videos. So good gut health in the perimenopause and menopause is more important than you may realize. A lot of us just don't think that our gut health can affect any other areas of our health. So this week, my friend, fellow menopause coach and nutritional practitioner Ali and I are going to have a chat about the importance of good gut health, how the menopause affects your gut microbiome. Now, the microbiome is basically all the different types of bacteria that live in your gut, and the ways that poor gut health can impact on you and your health, and what you can do to support your gut at this time. So how does the menopause affect the gut microbiome? So whether you're menopausal or not, and we know this just from our own lifestyles, that busy women tend to suffer from reduced digestive function. And I think a lot of women are not aware that what they do on a daily basis, such as running around whilst you're eating in front of the computer at your desk, eating while you're watching the TV, can cause a lot of digestive problems. And if you're stressed, which let's face it, most of us are these days one way or another, then we can get that hit of adrenaline, and that will basically switch our digestion off regardless of where it is in the whole digestive system. And that means that your food doesn't get dealt with effectively, and that can lead to things like bloating, wind, cramping, and as well, if we've got general anxiety caused by the menopause, maybe we don't even know where it's coming from, that's going to be affecting everything as well, isn't it?
I mean, you very rarely meet a midlife woman who isn't incredibly busy and juggling all sorts of things, and the last thing they're giving priority to is time to sit down and eat. You know, it's more about how quickly can I get this food down so I can rush on to the next thing. So to counter this tendency for stress to shut down your digestive system, it's really important to consciously take your time and relax when you're eating. If you're going to be eating, just take a breath. Sit down, relax, take a breath, and then consciously chew your food. This is probably one of the simplest things that we advise women to do, and it's one of the most effective, despite the fact it's free and it's relatively easy to do. It really has a huge amount of effect for how easy it is. So chew your food. And try not to drink when you're eating, because that just encourages you to wash your food down instead of chewing it. And also it dilutes your digestive enzymes. And this is really important because actually women start at a little bit of a disadvantage compared to men in terms of their digestive function, because women generally don't produce as much stomach acid as men do. So their digestive system or their digestive response isn't quite as sharp right from the start. And they also, because their stomach acid production isn't as high, then their stomach empties a little bit more slowly than a man's will. They are therefore a little bit more prone to constipation or a sluggish gut, which in turn makes you more likely to bloat and feel windy and uncomfortable. And just because of the way that a woman's digestive tract has to be structured around the womb, which is obviously different to a bloke's, then it can be a little bit more susceptible to irritability, not as well able to cope with a bout of diarrhea, for example. And another thing, which is actually really interesting, is that higher estrogen levels make your bile thicker, and therefore a bit more sluggish, and women are more prone to gallstones if they have high estrogen. And especially during perimenopause, you often get these surges of higher estrogen levels, which can mean you've got that slower bile movement.
I think as well the nausea With the bile, which is so common, isn't it?
Yeah. And struggling to metabolize fats effectively. So then fatty foods start to trouble you a bit more than they might have done previously. So all of these things conspire against women, really, in terms of digestion. And it does mean that I think women are something like 6 times more likely to get IBS than men are. And all of those things can be addressed or counterbalanced by these, well, I call them the good eating mechanics, which are the things that I was just mentioning. So sitting down, relaxing, take a breath before you eat, chew your foods well, and don't drink while you're eating. And also just to sit up as well, because that gives your stomach walls room to
we
move.
do this, don't we, in front of the TV, or when you're working on a computer. Plus the bad posture, you're actually squashing your stomach.
And the other thing that we talk about frequently is to eat more during the day and then less at night time. And that also means that you will have less digesting to do during the night. So you're less likely to get problems with your sleep. And that's really important, because if you're not sleeping well, you will crave more carbohydrates the next day. Immediately, the first night of bad sleep, the day after, you'll crave more carbohydrates. And that's a problem, because then you're likely to be going for sugary foods, which will feed the unfriendly bacteria in your gut. Okay, so you've got that disturbance of your gut bacteria, alongside the fact that unfriendly bacteria tend to enjoy it when your gut's quite sluggish. So keeping your gut moving well is important.
I think too, it's the weight thing as well, because if you're not sleeping, if you're craving the carbs, then that's going to sort of perpetuate overeating and the weight gain, which is also really common in the menopause as well. So the thing to do here, we're looking at supporting our friendly bacteria in as many different ways as we can. And it's not, you only have to make a few changes. It's not that you're going to have to give up everything you like, but just a few good healthy changes in your diet can make a huge amount of difference to the level of friendly bacteria. And one of the things that a lot of research is showing now is that your friendly bacteria can help with hormonal balance. So here we are in a situation where our hormones are going all over the place. If we're not eating well, if our friendly bacteria are being affected, that can have a knock-on effect on the type of symptoms that we're going to get in the perimenopause and the menopause as well. So again, if you've got a sluggish gut, and we're more predisposed to this in the perimenopause and menopause, it will affect the friendly bacteria and your gut biome, and that means that you will end up getting all sorts of other symptoms, the ones we've talked about, the constipation. Sometimes some women will get diarrhea. So we're looking at doing things just to get those friendly bacteria up and running and stable in the gut. So you're looking at plenty of water, and for those of you that have been watching, that it's one of the number one things that I always recommend. Just don't have it, as Ali mentioned, don't have it whilst you're eating, because you will dilute all your digestive juices. Make sure that you're eating loads of vegetables on a daily basis. And it's not hard. I mean, this morning I had an omelette for breakfast, and I had tomatoes, mushrooms and spinach. That was 3 portions of veg just with my breakfast. So you can add lots of little things in just to make sure that you're getting loads of veg. And that will also help if you're a bit sluggish as well. And the friendly bacteria's biggest enemies are a lot of the white food. So that's things like your white sugar, your white pasta, your white bread, and rice as well. So highly processed foods are not going to help your friendly bacteria. So just make sure that you're getting, what do we say, eat a rainbow on your plate, as much colour on your plate as you possibly can. And the other thing is exercise. Walking is one of the best things for your digestive tract, because as you're walking, especially if you're pumping your arms, you're massaging all your internal organs. And I think too, for the perimenopause cramping that you might get, then just doing 15 minutes brisk walking a day can be worth its weight in gold for that.
And it's also the other great benefit for getting your gut bacteria into a good state is that you're then less likely to get things like cystitis, vaginal issues like thrush or discomfort in that area, and even things like urinary leakiness, problems with that. So all of those things will be less likely if your gut bacteria is in a good state, because the environment in the gut goes on to affect the environment in these other areas. So one of the things that we really like to recommend is a probiotic called For Women, which is made by a company called Optibac. And that's brilliant, isn't it? We've had
It's really good results.
Yeah.
But this is, as far as I'm aware, it's just the UK and Ireland.
Okay.
But for those of you watching worldwide, then there will probably be local versions, I would think.
Yeah, you can have a look at it online and see what's in it, and then you can maybe find something locally for you. But so that's just a supplement that can help if you're particularly experiencing problems in that area. But overall, it's a question of just doing the practical things that we've been talking about, and also choosing some bitter foods, because and especially in the summer, that's a nice thing to do. So things like artichoke and chicory, radicchio, radishes, rocket, those kind of foods that have a bitter flavour, those are very stimulating for your gut and help to establish a good environment for your friendly bacteria.
And those foods are all prevalent in the Mediterranean diet, which I think a lot of people are tending to follow these days. So I hope you found this helpful. It's a huge subject, and honestly, we could go on and on talking about it, because our friendly bacteria, I call them our friendly little helpers, because they do so much to support our health in so many different ways, and just taking that little bit of extra effort to get them growing well in our gut can make a huge difference. So if any of you out there have tips as well, what have you done to help improve your digestion? What sort of digestive problems have you had that you've managed to fix just by changing your diet a little bit? Please share your stories. They're always so helpful, and we love to read all about them. And until then, I'll see you next week for another edition of A Vogel Talks Menopause.